Hey everyone, in this video I'm going to be showing you how to create a testimonial slider using the Ditty Images plugin along with some images that I generated from ChatGPT. We are going to be creating a custom layout, and then after we create a slider using list display, we're going to go back in and you can see how easy it is to add multiple testimonials, and then you can get it up on your site and display all of your awesome testimonials that people have given you. First thing we're going to do is select an image item type and add an image that I've added to my media library. Choose this one here. I used ChatGPT to generate a couple headshots of various characters from TVs, movies. So this is Walter White, sort of. Make sure to check add custom image data, and this is where we're going to be adding in the data that's going to be showing for the testimonials. So I put the name under the title of the user under the caption, and then the description will be the testimonial. So I'm just kind of picking and choosing which fields to use, and then we'll go into the layout and we'll modify the layout to show the content that we want in the right places. So first up, I'm going to select an image. I'm going to set the width and height to 200 pixels each. And for the object fit, I'm going to select cover. That'll make sure that any image we put in there is set at 200 by 200, and it will fill that 200 to 200 pixels without distorting the image. Next up, I'm adding the title, which is the person's name. And then I'm going to add the caption, which is the field I've used to add the title of the person. And then next we're gonna add the content, which is the actual testimonial. And for this element, I'm adding a before and after attribute with quotes. So that way, whatever we add into the content, we'll have quotes around it for the testimonial. And I'm gonna update, and you'll see it on the screen right now. We have all the content that we want. Next up, I'm gonna go into the CSS of the layout, and then we're gonna style this thing out a bit. So the first selector I'm gonna add is the Ditty item elements, and this is the div that wraps everything. So this is kind of like the root element of your item. I'm gonna set the display to flex and use a flex direction of column and add a gap between every item. Line the item center, text align center to get everything lined up center-wise. The next CSS selector I will add is for the image, and we'll style this out. So you can use sass in the CSS. So you can see I'm nesting the image selector in the Ditty item image class selector, because the image element is actually contained within a wrapper that has the class Ditty item image. I'm adding a border radius to the image, and then let's style out the title. And just for a quick note, you've seen that I've quickly added these CSS selectors by clicking them down at the bottom. All these CSS selectors listed down there are in reference to the elements on the HTML tab that you can easily select. But you can also add in your own CSS classes, your own HTML, and reference them on the CSS tab as well. All right, so we're gonna leave it here with this styling for now. I'm gonna go into the display actually, because we can set some base styling for the display as a whole. In the display tab, we're going to use a list element and turn it into a slider by setting just one item per page. And then next we're going to go into the styles tab, and we're going to set up some default styles for the slider as a whole. First thing we're going to do is set up a font family. We're going to use Lobster, which is a Google font, and when you choose this, the Ditty will load the Lobster font from Google on here. I'm going to set the font weight of 600, font size 20, line height 26. Just get the sizing of the fonts that we want. You'll see, well, let's add in some text color. What else? Let's scroll down. Let's actually go to the container. We're gonna add some styles to the container. Add in a background color, get our little gradient background, give it some style. So select the gradient tab. I always forget how to remove this little thing, but there's a little trash bucket. Remove that center gradient switch, and let's set some colors, and then let's change the angle of the gradient just a little bit. Give it an angle. There we go. And then I want to add some padding to the container. 20 pixels all the way around. Let's shrink this up a bit. There we go. And then I want to add some border radius around there. Get rid of those sharp angles around the container. And I'm just saving it here quick, just to save. Might as well, so we don't lose what we've done so far. I'm gonna go back into the item and customize the style a little bit more of the layout, because I really only want the name of the person to be in the lobster font. And currently right now, there's only one global font setting for the displays. At some point, I'll probably work in a way to target like various elements, header tags, paragraphs, whatnot. Right now, it's just a global font that gets added to actually the Ditty item elements. So, but right now, let's add in a little extra styling around the image, giving it a border, a box shadow, give it some extra style. Let's see, we're gonna go down and let's style out the caption. I'm gonna change this just to Arial, which Arial should load on pretty much all devices. It's just a sans serif font, a little bit simpler, not as stylized as Lobster. Change the font size of this, and we're gonna use M's for these font sizes, and M will set the font size relative to the container element. So when we set the font size for the display, that was setting the base font for the element, and then say the 0.7 M under the caption is saying, hey, set this font size at 70% of what I set the base font size for. So if we go back into the display and adjust the font size, these other fonts will adjust accordingly based on that base font size. All right, so here I'm styling out the horizontal rule element. I don't really want it to stand out that much, so it's gonna be pretty light. It's probably actually coming through in this video lighter than it will in reality. It's hard to see right now. I'm gonna change it to 2 pixels. You can kind of see it there. I'm just gonna leave it as for now. If you're following along, you can always change that up. And then let's style the content. The actual testimonial, there really isn't much we're gonna add here besides just changing the font to Arial. So, and this is using the font weight and font size we set in the display, which is kind of what I base the base fonts off of, is this testimonial area. Just added sans serif to the font family just for a fallback if for some reason Arial isn't available on a user's machine. Next up, we are going to save this layout as a template, so that way we can reuse it easily for other images. And also if we want to make any changes to the testimonials as a whole, all we have to do is change the template and not have to update every single item that we're using in the testimonial slider. All right, so I created the template, and next up we are going to shrink this down a little bit just so we can see it, and we're gonna clone our images. So now we got 3 of them here. It should only be 1 per page. For some reason it didn't switch up, so I'm just gonna save and reload. So the data's there. For some reason the live refresh was not working. So we're gonna duplicate our images again and go in and swap them out with some other images I generated from ChatGPT. This is Janie Briggs from Not Another Teen Movie, which is a spoof movie based off all the various 90s high school, man, I don't even know what you call them. They're not romance movies. I don't know what they are. But anyways, this is a pretty funny movie. It's also the first time I ever was introduced to Chris Evans. So when he became Captain America, it's kind of a funny picture in my head based off of this movie. Anyways, let's move on to the third image, which I've generated, which was supposed to be off of Ace Ventura. Doesn't really look like Jim Carrey. Maybe got a similar shirt, but I went with it. I kind of like the crazy look for him. Probably has a similar personality. But yeah, if I'm not back in 5 minutes, just wait longer. There we go. And let's update the settings. And what else? Let's do a little bit of styling to the navigation bullets. Just gonna change up the colors a little bit, make them a little bit more subtle. Add some transparency to them. So you can use the color selectors, sliders for the normal bullet color, and then the active color for whatever the active slide is, or the page. There we go. We're gonna add a little bit of padding to the top just to separate it from the slider. And I think that's good. Let's save our Ditty. Let's see. Let's go down. I'm gonna turn on autoplay. Set the autoplay speed. I don't want it too long, but I don't know, 6 seconds, something like that is usually pretty good. You don't want to wait too long because people don't know it's auto playing, but you don't want it too fast because then it gets a little crazy on the screen. And then we're gonna set the initial page transition. So this is right when it first shows on the screen. We're gonna set the transition speed to 0 and the height speed to 0 transitioning, so it just shows on the page. It doesn't like animate in. The rest of the transitions will animate, just not the initial one. And then let's save this as a display template, just to have in case we have other testimonial sliders we want to create, and we can just select the display template and not have to recreate it. Then save our Ditty, and then let's go into our homepage and we'll just add it using a Ditty block. So select your Ditty from the drop down. Shoot, I forgot to name the Ditty, so let's go back. Let's go into the Ditty. You could rename it here using the quick edit, but I'm gonna go in to the Ditty and then just select the title at the top. Rename it whatever you want. Testimonials make sense. Let's save it and go back into our page again. All right, add the block. Select it. So now when you have multiple Ditty, you know which one you're selecting. And let's view the homepage, and there it goes. And you'll see, so Walter White, the name is not the font we want. And I realize this is because the theme has CSS selectors that are overriding just the basic display font family. So the Google font is still loading, but now I'm just gonna hard code into the layout. I'm gonna say, make sure you're using Lobster to the title, because currently the Lobster font is just being applied to the Ditty item elements like the wrapper, but the theme is styling header tags specifically, so I need to specifically set that in the layout. So now you see the Lobster font showing up for the name. And I'm just gonna go through these really quick, speed this up just a little bit. One thing I wanna show you is just a different transition. So let's go back into the editor and let's set the page transition to a slide of some sort. Slide left, let's do slide up or down. Kind of like that. You can also see, to show you here, if you go on the items tab, you select each item, it'll transition. And let's save the Ditty and check it back out on the front end of the site again. And you'll just see it rotating up on its own. And that's really about it. This is an example of how to create a testimonial slider using Ditty images. So that's all there is to it. We have created our testimonial slider. If you followed along, you can build it out yourself, or else you can also download the package that I have on my site, which has the custom layout that I've done here, as well as the display, so you can import it and start using it right away, and you can modify as you see fit. Do whatever you want, go crazy. All right, have a good one.